Good afternoon, dear all. So, our distinguished speaker for the day is Dr. Siddharth Dabare, Assistant Professor, School of Management Studies at the National Forensic Science University. And I, Vanika Mehta, wish to extend this opportunity on behalf of NFSU Multimedia Department to welcome him. Sir, my sincere thanks to you for taking out the time to speak with the students. So let me tell you, dear students, Dr. Siddharth is having 12 plus years of experience in teaching and research. His remarkable achievements in research and technology and teaching have resulted in 18 distinct awards, including the Best Young Scientist National Award by IRDP Group of Journals, Best Paper Awards at International Conference on Recent Advances in Computer Science, Engineering and Technology, and Best Presentation Award also. Sir has been awarded Excellent Oral Presentation in the IEEE Symposium, International Symposium on Computational and Business Intelligence. Dr. Dabare is a member of various reputed learned bodies such as Computer Science Teachers Association, the Indian Science Congress Association, Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, Association of Computing Machinery, Association of Information Technology Professionals, International Association of Computer Science and Information Technology, International Association of Engineers, International Association of Patent Recognition, that is IAPR, and European Association for Signal Processing. And he has served in various national and international conference committees. An international scholarship has also been awarded to Sir from the International Association for Patent Recognition, that is IAPR, Morpho and URESIP, for participation in the 13th Summer School for Advanced Studies on Biometrics for Secure Authentication, Biometrics, Forensic Science, and the Quest for Identity. In his professional career, Dr. Siddharth has authored 51 publications, including 20 publications in reputed international journals, that is Springer, IEEE, and Elsevier. He holds 2 patents and 1 German patent is in process. He has written 7 book chapters. To further his education, Sir has undertaken many overseas trips to Japan, Italy, and Malaysia and attended more than 60 conferences and workshops. He is proficient in many programming languages such as C, C++, V.NET, Java, R, Python, Matlab, Scilab, and Arduino. Dr. Siddharth has expertise in the following areas like web technology, computer network, network security, biometric, image processing, compute vision, pattern recognition, machine learning, data science, and IoT. So, without utilizing much of the time, I would now request Sir to begin the lecture. Please, Sir.
Okay, first of all, thank you very much, Varika, to giving the very nice introduction to me. And I will also thanks to the Dr. Surbhi Mathur ma'am for inviting me to deliver the MATLAB knowledge to the students.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sparing your valuable time.
Yes, ma'am.
I think
Thank
we
you very much.
can start with the session, sir.
Yes, ma'am. I am trying to share my screen. So is it visible? Okay, so is it visible? Okay, so we are going to start the fundamentals of MATLAB. Ma'am has given so many experience regarding my own experience regarding the research areas and domain. So I have just learned the MATLAB as a part of my research, and I haven't given the any technical presentation on the MATLAB. But first time it is I am trying to give the presentation on the MATLAB. So under this presentation, I am going to cover these topics: introduction to MATLAB, how to start with MATLAB, what are the different data types, operators, and control statements, how to use the character string for manipulation, what are the different type of math functions which are present in the MATLAB, then how to process the graphics, the fundamental of it, then how to process the image, how to create your own MATLAB file, that is yum file, then how to handle the functions, what are the P code files, how to use the MATLAB expression and regular expression. So these are the contents, but due to the limited constraint, limited time, I am trying to cover all these points. If it is not covered, so you can contact me later on. So first we will try to start the introduction to MATLAB. So first question is arises in our mind, what is MATLAB? Those students are new to the MATLAB. Every time this question will be arises, what is MATLAB? So MATLAB is the acronym of the matrix laboratory. So mat is the matrix and lab is the laboratory. So the combination of these two words, this MATLAB has developed. So this MATLAB has developed by the MathWorks inclusive company. So under this MATLAB, there are so many different kind of products are available. So with the help of this product, we can perform the technical task. So I think near about 18 different products are available nowadays. It will be increased day by day within the versions. So these products are very useful to perform the discovery, make the invention, development and learning engineering and sciences. So MATLAB will provide you the interactive environment. So with the help of this environment, you can create your own computation, you can calculate, you can visualize your data, you can perform the animation, you can create the graphics, even though you can create your graphical user interfaces like your software. You can perform the analysis and simulation also. So there are so many different type of inbuilt functions are available under this MATLAB, and because of that it is very popular one. So there are so many excellent tools which are available under MATLAB like signal processing, image processing, neural computing, statistical optimization, financial, geometric modeling, virtual reality, bioinformatics, embedded system, and many more. So many scientific computing toolboxes are available under this MATLAB. So now the question is arises, what are the advantages of this MATLAB? The main advantages of this MATLAB is it is very easy to use rather than the other languages, right? So it is a interpreted language like your turbo basic languages like your C, C++, Visual Basics. So it will support the various editors. You can, even though you can write your MATLAB code into the notepad and you can execute it on command prompt also. You can use the inbuilt editor which is available with the MATLAB. You can use the command to execute within the MATLAB. You can take the help from the MATLAB from the browser as well. So it is very easy to use. Then another advantages of this MATLAB is it is platform independent. So whenever you are trying to write your code, that code once you have written in any platform, any operating system, that can be executable on another operating system also. So you can write in Windows operating system, in Linux operating system, and Macintosh operating system. Even though we are capable to execute this code on a different platform. And another beauty of this MATLAB is it has a predefined function. So we call it as a MATLAB built-in function, that is library. So this library is the very vast collection of this library, and because of that it is become a very popular. This MATLAB also support the device independent plotting. This facility is useful for the technical data and the graphical output devices. Even though MATLAB provide the graphical user interface also, so to make the interaction between the user and your data. So you know that every coin has the two sides. If we are thinking about the plus point of the MATLAB, it is very large as compared to the other programming languages, and because of that it has the various integration collection of the so many toolboxes, so many integrated tools are there. Because of that it is a little bit slower as compared to other programming language, because it is an interpreted language, right? And another thing is that the MATLAB is a paid version, so it is costly as compared to the other tools. So you just look at this figure. This is the architecture of the MATLAB. So here you can see at the heart of the MATLAB is the MATLAB programming language. So this MATLAB programming language, we are trying to develop your own code. We can use the inbuilt codes also, right? So whenever you are trying to write your own code, the extension of this code is .yum, that is yum file. Even though some another the file extensions are used in MATLAB, like the mat .mat. .mat is the you can store the workspace of your MATLAB into the your system. So .mat. Then GUI, figure, like this max. So many extension will be provided by this MATLAB, and this is the very easy programming language as compared to the other programming language. So it has some inbuilt functions. So we call it as the toolboxes. So we can develop your user-defined functions also. As per your requirement, you can develop your own user-defined function and you can manipulate it. Then it has the very large amount of graphic supports. We can develop your simulings. We can use the existing toolboxes to develop the interface, the block sets. So the application development interface is the high end, which will be able to interact with directly with the user. So these are the things which is already covered. So I don't want to waste these so many times to just explaining about the basic concepts regarding the architectures. Then the MATLAB system is categorized into the 6 different categories. So very first category is the development environment. So MATLAB is provide the one environment in which we can able to write your content, we are able to execute your application, you are able to take the help, you are able to see the various type of different commands which we have used. So that is the development environment. In the upcoming slide, we will see in detail about this. Then the MATLAB is the collection of the mathematical functions. So very large amount of collection of the mathematical functions are available under this MATLAB. Then MATLAB language, it will handle the graphics, it will handle the APIs. So API is not only the inbuilt APIs, inbuilt toolboxes, even though we are able to handle the different programming languages as well into the your MATLAB. Like you can execute the C++ code, the other programming language code into the MATLAB. So if you want to work in another any application and you have find out the code in the C language or C++ language, in Java language, and you want to use that code into the MATLAB, so it is easy to use with the help of these interfaces. So in MATLAB, there are various file type systems are available. So now you can see, so under this MATLAB, there is yum file, that is the extension of your MATLAB file, mat file, max file. So here you can execute the max file while running the applications, right? Then figure, GUI, model. So these are the typical uses of the MATLAB, like application development, algorithm development, modeling, simulation and prototyping, data analysis, visualization, scientific and engineering problems, graphics, GUI building, virtual reality, and modeling, etc. So these are the application areas where we can use this MATLAB. So math and optimization, statistical and data analysis, application development, database connectivity and reporting, signal processing and communication, image processing, financial modeling and analysis, simulation. Even though we can be able to use the data acquisition, data analysis, and many more. So many things are available where we can use the MATLAB. So application area is very vast. Because of that, it become very popular one. So in short, what we have seen till now. So what is MATLAB? Then the basic of the MATLAB, the functions. It consists of the functions, simulink, block sets, toolboxes, application development, and interfaces. So it has categorized into the 6 parts. And what are the applications of the MATLABs? So that we have seen up till now. Now we want to start the MATLAB, right? So starting with the MATLAB, so under which we are going to cover the basic commands, variables, how to define the variables, keywords, numbers, vector matrices, and multidimensional array, right? So once you have installed this MATLAB is a paid version. So you need to purchase the license copy of this MATLAB. So once you have installed this MATLAB in your system, so at that time such kind of icon will be seen. So that is your start button. So when you have opened the Matlab, so this start button will be clicked. You have to click on that button. So it will it will open the one integrated ID, that is ID. So by using that start button, we are able to access the Matlab tool, desktop tool, demo, block set, help files, and toolboxes. So under these various menus, there are so many different type of sub menus are available. So you can go to the appropriate menu as per your requirement. So once you have started the Matlab, so it will be look like this. This is the one editor of the Matlab. So here you can see on the top of the here you can see the address bar, right? So we can see this is the current directory, or we can address current path of the your Matlab. And here what are the contents which are present under this current directory, it will be displayed here. Then output details. So once you have executed your program, so it can be display the output in this window. So editor, within this editor we are able to write the content, we are able to debug the contents. So once we have click on the editor, so editor tab will be highlighted, and automatically we are able to write the contents. Then command window, if you don't want to write the Matlab file you want to save it, if you don't want to save it, then you can directly execute the command on command prompt, that is command window. Then workspace. So when you have started your Matlab session, so under that session, whatever the variable you have created, that variable will be stored here under the workspace. So it will be highlighted here. Sometimes it will happen that you want to make the customization of the display of your Matlab tool. So you can go to the preferences and you can make the setting according to your requirement. So for example, if you want to make the preferences of, if you want to change the font, if you want to change the font color, text color likewise, so at that time you can use the preferences and make the settings according to that one. Now the one feature has been added, I think after the 2016 onwards, so add-ons. So most of the case we are able to purchase the toolboxes according to your requirement also, right? So if you have if you required any specific toolbox, for example image processing toolbox you required, signal processing toolbox you required, so you can purchase it at the time of purchasing the license. And once you have purchased it, you can add that toolboxes by using the add-ons button. You can create your own folder by using this icon. And this is this is the old window of the Matlab. So here you can see this is the current directory, workspace. So this arrow icon will be indication of the undock and docking of your window. So this workspace window will be undocked. Then Simulink, get help. So here this is the command prompt. So here this is the current directory location. So you can change this current directory location from this arrow icon or from this dot icon. So we will see one by one what is command prompt. So command prompt is nothing but the location where we are able to execute the command directly without writing or storing the data. That is, it is an interpreted language. So that's why whatever the command you have written, that can be executed very fastly. So these two symbols will be seen here, that is called as a greater than sign, right? So once you have click on the command prompt, this greater than sign, after that the blinking cursor will be there and you can write the command, and once you have pressed the enter key, the command will be executed automatically. Then another thing is command history. So whatever the command you have executed on your session, so that A command will be recorded here one by one according to the time slots. And once you want to re-execute that command, you just click on that command, or you can just use the arrow key to select the appropriate command to re-execute it. Then current directory or the browser, you can change the current directory field. You can see the list of the folders available under this directory. You can go into the subfolders also by using this changing the current directory field. Then a workshop space browser. So this workshop space browser is the collection of the various set of variables, right? So whatever the variables you have used in your program, use at the time of command prompt while executing your code. So at that time, under this workspace, we are able to store these data. So right, so here we can see I, ANS, X, Y, Z. So these are the different type of variables, and with this variable, what are its value and what are its class has been defined. So we can identify, we can go to the particular variable with the help of this workspace. Even though we are able to find out the what are the sizes of the your variables, so we call it as an array size. Then the byte size is also visible. If you want to check on command prompt what are the variables which are present under your session, so you can use the who command. So it will enlist the number of commands, number of variables which are present under the your session. Then sometimes you want to find out the name, array size, storage, and its class. So you can use the whose command. Then array editor. So this is the one of the specific very good thing is that once you have created the array and sometimes you want to modify that array, so you can view that array by using the array editor, or you can modify it. So this can be possible by using array editor. Then help is very good thing of the Matlab is the help. So each and everything has been written very precisely and very correctly, and even though they have given the references also from which paper or from which white paper they have collected these resources, and they have cited very well. So you can see here there are contents, index, search, and demo. These are the different type of navigations are present, and under this different navigation you will get the different help files. Like if you click on the contents button, so you can see the number of different type of toolboxes which are present under the Matlab that can be shown according to the alphabetical order. Sometimes you can change the alphabetical order also, right? Then index. So by clicking on the index button, you can able to find out the contents. Then if you wish to search some particular function, some particular toolbox, so at that time by using the search tab, we can access it. And demo, under this demo, we are able to find out the video files and the explanation of the particular content, particular function, particular toolboxes. Then very good thing of this Matlab is we can use the debugger into the your Matlab editor. So you can use the stop button anywhere where you want to check the value of your variable. So while runtime execution, at the time once we have click on the breakpoint, so we can see the what are the values of these f, I, and w variables. So now we want to start the basic commands. So these are the basic commands like CLC. So CLC command is used to clear the screen. So what are the if you have created the executed the so many commands, at that time you want to clear the screen, at that time you can use the CLC. If you want to terminate the Matlab session, you can use the quit. If you want to get the help of the specific function like help FFT or any other function you want to take, so you can just write on the command prompt help the function name. So you are able to find out the help from that particular function from Matlab. So help win So it will try to create the new window the for help file. Then doc CLC, it will display the complaint online help in the help browser. Then VER, so there is a version. So the two commands are there for version. So under VER command, we are able to find out the how many toolboxes are present under your MATLAB and what are its different type of uh, versions, right? And under if we just use the version command, complete version, so it will just give the detailed information about your current MATLAB version. Then PWD is the current working directory. So you want to check in which directory you are. Sometimes it may be a possibility that you want to get the current directory part into your program. So by using the pwd command, you can use that to find out the current directory. Then sometimes it may be happen that you want to change the directory, current directory into the another directory. So by using the cd command, you can change it. Then copy file, sometimes you want to copy one file to another file, one source to another destination. So at that time you can use the copy file, source file and destination file. Then you want to check how many different type of folders are which are present under your current directory. So you can use the dir command. Then as already I have told you about the who and whose command. So who will command will be display the list of the current variables in your workspace, and whose will be display the list of the current variables along with its size and its data types and classes, right? Sometimes it is a requirement of your program or your application, you want to store the current workspace. So you can store your current workspace with all variables in the mat file. The extension of that current workspace file will be the mat, right? So by using the save command, you can save the specific variable also, or you can save the complete workspace also. Then once you have stored it, you have executed, you have terminated your MATLAB session, and after sometimes you want to re-execute that code. You want to reload the existing variables into your command prompt. So at that time, by using the load function, we are able to load the previous mat file with its workspace value. So under this workspace, we are able to find out the variable name, and what are the contents was stored at that time. Then what display the list of MATLAB specific files in a directory. Then by using edit command, we can edit your MATLAB code. Then type. So this is like your command windows of your Microsoft DOS. So it will show the contents or what are the contents are written under your file. So by using type command. Then path. Sometimes it may be happen that you have downloaded some additional external toolboxes from the other than the MATLAB MathWorks. So you want to add that folder, add that toolbox into your MATLAB environment. So at that time you can set the path. So path can be set by using the path command. Then format. Sometimes you want to display the output into the specific format. So you can set the format by using format option. Then diary. Diary is very useful one. So when you want to note down each and every activity of your session, time wise, that can be noted by using the diary. So once you have started the diary on, so it will be recorded each and every commands which are executed in your session. Then now comes toward the how to create the variables, right? So in MATLAB, there is no need to define the data type for the declaration of variable. So you can just directly use the variable name and you can assign the value. So like your other programming language, there is no need to define data types. So the MATLAB variable consists of at max 63 characters. So there are certain rules and regulation while defining the variables. So you must start with the letter followed by the letter, digit and underscore. So variable names are very case sensitive. So we can make the difference between small case and uppercase letter. So some of the predefined special variables which are present under this Matlab also, like ENS. So if we are not trying to store the one value into the another variable, at that time, if you executed the command, that answer, that output of that command will be stored into the ENS variable. So it is by default system created variable. Pi value, so pi is the variable, so by default value has been stored. So there is no need to define the pi value into your program. Then EPS is the smallest incremental number. INF is the infinity number. NaN is the not a number. For example, 0 divided by 0, right? So this is not a number. Sometimes you want to find out the what is the positive real number, we can use the smallest number and largest number. So by using a real mean and real max, you can find out that positive real number, mean and max value. So according to the way of use of your program variables, it has been categorized into the three different categories: local variable, global variable and persistent variables. So now here you can see we are trying to define the variables. So in C, C++ and other programming language, we need to define the variable like this: integer a. So we can assign the value later on, a is equal to 1. For example, if you want to define the variable of type double, so double b, and then we can assign the value. But in Matlab, we can directly define the value like this: a is equal to 1, b is equal to 2 plus 4. Here a is equal to 1, we can directly initialize. So you can see the class of that Matlab variable. So here b is equal to false, that is logical value. So in this manner we can define the variables, like each and everything has been defined under the array. So whenever array is concerned, we need to store it into the square bracket. So we can define the array under the square brackets by using the comma. The elements of this array can be separated with the help of comma or blank space. Even though we are able to separate the column and row by using the semicolon also. So here you can see we have defined the one variable a, 1, 2, 3. So we have separated each and every element by by comma. Here we have defined the another variable or array. So here how many rows? 2 rows and 3 columns, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in between rows and column differentiation, we are using the semicolon. Here 3 rows and 3 columns. So we can directly execute this code into the editor. So I will just open the command Matlab. So is it visible? Okay. So now, for example, if you want to create the, I will make the font bigger than that. Okay, so just wait. Okay, so this is the font. You can custom the font here from plain. You can set the type of the font by using here list of the font and the font size. You can set the font size like this. You can make the apply and you can press the OK. So now is it visible now? Okay, so we are trying to define the variable a and we are trying to store the value as 1. So here you can see under this workspace, you can see a variable has been created and value is 1, and the size is 1 by 1. So by default matrix is there 1 by 1 matrix, means one row and one column, and the class of this variable is double. So if you wish to see the value, you can just use a. If you want to store the another value like 1, 2, 3, so by using the comma separation, you can able to store the variable values. Then you can store like this 3, 4, 5. So we need to use the equal to sign to allocate the memory space onto the particular variable, right? 3, 4, 5. So you want to define the variable 1, 2, 3, so 4, 5, and 6. You can see 2 row and how many columns? 3 columns. So you can check the size of the your row and column if your matrix is very large and it is not able to calculate. So you can use the size command to check the size of your array. Now it is 3 by 3, right? So you can check the size of A. It will return the 3 row and 3 column. So likewise, you can define the variables in Matlab. Even though you can initialize the Matlab variable by using the existing functions like zeros. So if you want to create the matrix of zeros, the collection of zeros, so we can see P is equal to zeros. So how many zeros you want to define? 3 by 3. So you can see. So by using zeros command, zeros function, we can declare the empty matrix. Then once P is equal to once, so if you wish to just define the one matrix, under that only one value will be there. So you can define like this, so 4 by 4 matrix, and which the each and every element is the one value, one. Okay, so zeros, ones. Then sometimes there is a requirement of your program, you need to generate the random number. So you can generate the random number like this. So here you can see very big matrix is there. So here 100 row and 2 columns. So you can check the size of what was the variable D, right? So 100 row and 2 columns. Even though you can store the output of this variable uh, of size function, you can say R row and column equal to size. You can see here, so we can able to store it under the R row and C column. Even though we can use this command who, so you can see what are the different variables which are present under your current workspace. If you use the whose command, and you see the list of the variables with its size, with its bytes and its class, right? By default it will be stored into the double. Sometimes you want to change the data type, we will see how to change it in the upcoming slides. So to store the to memory, to reserve the memory space. So you want to clear the workspace, so you can use this command like clear, close. Close will be used to close the figure. So we can see CLC. So it will use to clear the screen. So CLC, it will be just clear the your command prompt, but not workspace. So you want to clear this workspace also. So you can use this clear command, right? Then sometimes you need to find out the or you need to create the identity matrix. So EY is the function, by using that you can able to create the identity matrix. You can see. Okay. So we can open this. We can store this value into the one variable a. Okay. Under this variable, you can see just double click it on the variable name. So here variable editor will be open. We can modify this value also. So you can see the diagonal elements are 111. So that is identity matrix. You can clear it. Sometimes you want to find out, you want to print these contents on your screen. So for that, there are so many different type of functions which are available under the Matlab, like yes printer. So it will print the string with number. You can use the f printer, which will be used to print the file into the file while writing the content into the file. Then you can use the display. DSP is the command or the function. By using that, you can display the contents. So like this, for example, here it is. This. Hello. Okay, so be sure that it should be in single quotation. It will display the hello. Then yes printer. So sometimes you want to print the numerical data. So format you need to specify, like your C++ programming language. So you are trying to use the %d, %c, %f to display the specific format, right? So by using that, you can use the printf function to display the specific format, right? So here you can use the %d. You can use any number. This value will be printed, right? Now you want to check how many different type of keywords which are present under your Matlab. So these are the reserve keywords. We cannot define this reserve keyword as a variable. So you can use is keyword, right? So it will give the list of the keywords which are present under the Matlab, like break, case, catch, class, define, continue, else, else, end, for, function, global, and so on, right? So these are the predefined keywords. We are not able to define this keyword as a variable. Then most of the case matrix perform the calculation on number only, right? So the very large amount of number format we can store into the Matlab. Like we can store the imaginary number, we can store the exponential number, you can use the plus sign, minus sign, floating numbers to store the fractional value also, right? So E is the exponent, so e raised to 102, right? Then I stands for the imaginary number, I, j, these are the imaginary numbers. So we can store that number with the help of the power scales also. Then vector and matrices. So vector, there is a difference between vector and matrices. Vector is the one row or the column, right? So in the row, it may be happen that n number of columns may be present. If we are trying to define the row vector, if we are trying to define the column vector, so only one column will be there and so many different type of rows are present, right? So that is vector. And matrices is nothing but the collection of m by n. So m row and n columns. And vector is nothing but the 1 by 1 matrix, right? So whenever we are trying to create the matrices in your Matlab, so we can try to use any type of variable name according to the rules. Then we can assign the value with the help of subscripts. We can extend the value, we can combine the Matlab matrix or array into the another variable. Even though we can delete the contents from your matrix, you can extract some contents from your MATLAB matrix, or you can use the matrix multiplication as well, or you can perform the different type of operations on your MATLAB. So for example, we have defined one variable a matrix, right? So under this matrix we have four elements, 1 2 3 4, and this matrix has been divided into the rows and columns. So how many rows? Two rows and two columns, right? To store this data, we are trying to use the square bracket, and row has been separated by using the semicolon, right? So here you can see, you can assign this value like this also, b is equal to minus 2a. You can call the any existing inbuilt function while defining the value, even though you can perform the calculation also while initializing the value of your array element. Then let's take an example. This is the matrices A, right? And this matrices is collection of rows and columns. So how many rows? 5 rows and 5 columns. So you need to make the differentiate between the matrix. So if the matrix has only one value, that is, we call it as a scalar matrix. So it has the 1 by 1 array, right? So only one element will be present under your matrix, that is scalar matrix. If we have the matrix m by 1 or 1 by n, so we call it as a vector matrix, and matrix is nothing but the m by n. Okay, so m row and n columns. So you can see here, whenever you want to access these elements, so we can access this element by using two ways. So in memory of the workspace, it will be stored like this from first column. Okay, so rows and then again next value. So here you can see 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so these are the 5 elements under one column, and next element will be into the sequence of the second column, right? So under first column, all the elements will be accommodated by using the row value. Then the next value will be 6 7 8 9 10, like this. Okay, so likewise we are trying to store the data into the memory, and we are able to fetch this data by using their index value, right? So for example, if you want to access these 4, okay, so what is the index value of these 4 elements? So second row and fourth column. So we can access it, right? Or we can directly use its index value, direct index value. So A17. Okay, so we can take the example here on command prompt. Okay, so we have already created one value, one variable. Okay, I think this is the identity matrix. We can create the another matrix. So 10 by 10, so 10 row and 10 column. So you want to access the last element, for example. So how we are going to access it? Can anybody tell me? I want to access the last element of this array. So this one. So we can see this is row, last row, 10th row, and this one is 10th column, right? How to access it? So we can say A 10 row, comma 10th column. Okay. So remember that one. So whenever we are trying to access the array element, the index value will be start from the 1, not from the 0. In other programming language, the array element will be start from 0, but in MATLAB, it will be always start from the 1, right? So if you wish to find out or access the first value, you can just use A1, right? You want to access the second value, A2, or you want to access the specific row also. For example, you want to access the seventh row, right? So you can access it by using this command A. So you want to access row. So the row number 7, comma, all columns. So this is the colon operator. The all column will be accessed, right? So if you want to access the specific column only, not the all row. For example, if you want to access the second row, so you can use like this command. So all row and second column, right? So column wise value we are able to fetch it. Is this clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
now you can use the scalar expansion. Even though you can perform different type of array operation or matrix operation by using on matrix. So if you want to add the 5 into the every element of your matrix, so you can perform like this. So here we have the A element, A matrix. So A is equal to A plus 5. Now you can see. So the current value of A matrix is like this. Why? Because we have added the plus 5. If you want to remove the or subtract some value, you can see A minus 2. So we have just removed, we have subtracted the 2 from the all matrix. So even though you can try to subtract the specific element also, so you can separate it. For example, from the first value, you want to subtract from any another number. So for example, so what is the location of this one? A and 1, okay, first row, first column, minus 2, for example. Okay, what will be the value? Okay, 3.462. It will not subtracted. So we will first check one by one. Yeah, so it was the previous value was 5, and after subtracting the 2, it will be 3.6443, right? Sometimes it may happen that you want to perform the operation on a large scale, and you want to access the element up to the specific sequential order. So by using the colon operator, we can use it. So for example, if you want to generate the number from 1 to 10, you can generate, you can see the list 1 to 10. If you wish generate the number from 1 to 100, so you can create it. So under this answer, it will be see the list, right? Sometimes you want to inverse the operation. For example, what we have defined b variable, and under this b variable, we have created the this list 1 to 100, right? So what is the size of this one? So you can check the size of b. How many rows? One row and 100 columns. So you want to transpose it. So you can transpose it by using the single quotation, the transpose, right? Here you can see the data has been modified, right? So you can now check the size of B. You can see how many rows, 100 rows and one column, right? Likewise, you can perform the transpose operation also. So these are the already covered such kind of things, right? Even though you can concatenate the matrix operation also. For example, here we have defined the array 2 by 2 array, and you can concatenate the value of array to generate the new array element. So here we are trying to perform the multiplication with array. Okay, so 2 into A. So A will be consist of the whole matrix of the A. Then 3 into whole matrix of A. 4 into whole matrix of A. Likewise. So we will just try to execute this one. So I will just clear the screen. Okay. So here we are trying to define one variable 1, 2, 3, 4. This matrix we have created. Now we want to perform the operation k is equal to, so here only sorry, first value will be stored, means the original array will be stored as it is, original matrix will be stored. Then we are trying to perform multiplication of this array by using this one. Right, now let's see what will happen here. So what happened here when we are trying to use the comma, so after multiplication of same matrix, it will be generated the new matrix, right? So 2 multiply by 2, 1 multiply by 2, it will be 2. So 2 multiply by 2, it will be 4. 3 multiply by 2, 6, and according to the 8, right? Then you want to separate it, so you can use the separation, then you can use 3 into 8. So we need to use the dimension concatenation. So every time the matrix should be the square matrix, right? Now you can see here. So 4 multiplied by the current value of A like this. Sometimes it may be happen that you want to delete the contents from your matrix. So you can just assign the index value as empty, so it will be deleted. So for example here, A is equal to, you can say, all row, and third column you want to make as empty. You can use like this. You are a user of okay. What happened here? Oh, sorry. That's a mistake. Okay. Third column. Okay. What happened here? Okay. This one. Okay. Now fine. Now you can see here we have deleted the third column. You can check the size also. Size of it. How many rows? 4 rows and 7 columns. If you wish to access this one, so it will give you error also. No, sorry. Why it is not given error? Because it is shifted by the left side, right? So that's why it is give the value of that the next column. Okay, so I think we have already covered this one, right? Yes, so sometimes you want to access the element from one point to another point. So for example, from this location to this location, so you can use this command A21 to end. So end will be the last element of your matrix. Sometimes you can access the element by using its index value, or you can by using its the subscript value, right? So both are the same way we can access it. You can perform the matrix multiplication also, A into B. So we will see that one into the upcoming slides. Now here you can see these are the different type of matrix manipulation functions. Like already we have covered how to create the zeros, how to create the ones, identity matrix, random number. If you wish to find out the diagonal elements, you can use the diagonal, dig. This is the function, right? So we can use this one. So dig. So I think it is a spelling mistake. So MATLAB itself give the explanation or whether it is this one, right? So this correction will be suggested by the MATLAB, right? So we are able to find out the diagonal elements of this matrix. If the matrix is the square matrix, then the perfect diagonal will be identified. Then sometimes there is a need of you want to find out the flip the matrices. Sometimes for image processing, you want to rotate the matrices. So flip rotation, left right rotation. Likewise, you can use this different type of function. You can repeat the replicate the matrix. Then transpose matrix, you can use the single inverted quote to transpose the matrix. You can rotate the matrix by using 90-degree or certain degree. Then sometimes you want to find out the upper triangular part of your matrix. So by using trill, the lower triangular of your matrix, you can use access by using this function. Then you can use the cross product vector, dot product, determinant. Most of the case in statistical or in principal component analysis, we need to find out the determinant value, then eigenvalue, eigenvectors, the inverse value, right? So that can be possible by using these functions. So you have the 5-minute exercise and tell me the answers. So this is the exercise for you. Now see who will give the answer first. So you need to define the matrix A of dimension 2 by 4, right? So whose I and j entry is I plus j. So you need to extract 2 by 2 matrices A1 and A2 from your matrix A. So A1 contains first two columns and A2 contains last two columns. Compute the matrix, then perform the sum, find out the eigenvectors, find out the determinant of your matrix, and then compute the inverse. So how many of you have the MATLAB with you? How many of you MATLAB? Do you have the MATLAB? No one.
I don't think,
Okay,
sir,
so
anyone will be having right now.
okay.
Yeah.
So you can take the screenshot of this slide
Yeah,
and
definitely,
try
sir.
to perform this operation, and then convey your output to me,
Sure, sir.
right?
Yeah.
Right. So most of the case, the array is a single dimensional array or multi-dimensional array. So when you are trying to process the image, the array element is always multi-dimensional. You know that in images, the so many different type of planes are present, right? So that plane can be accessed by using the multi-dimensional array. So for example, here you can see this is the first plane, this one is the second plane, and this one is third plane. So this M is the matrix. Under this matrix, we have defined the rows and columns. So for example, here I will clear the screen.  'Screen. 'Screen. Okay, so we have defined the matrix A 1, 2, 3, semicolon 4, 5, 6. Okay, so this is the first plane, right? This first plane. You want to define the second plane. I don't know whether it is correct or not, but we will try. Perfect. Now, third plane. So we have defined the matrix A of three planes. So we can find out the size of this matrix. You can see 3, 3, 3. So what it means? So 3 row, 3 column, and how many bands or how many rows, planes, 3 planes or 3 bands are there, right? So in image processing, we need to process the elements of array by using the plane wise accessing the elements, right? So here you can see the array element or multi-dimensional array is collection of n number of pages or n number of, we can say, the planes. So we can access this plane value by using its last value 1, 2, 3 up to the n number of the planes, n number of pages. Uh, this is the advanced part of the MATLAB. So sometimes it may be happen that matrix, you know that matrix, under the matrix we can able to store the value of similar data types. Under one variable we are able to store only same type of data type, the same type of values. But there is a need of your program, you need to store under the one roof different type of data, different type of value. So you want to store the number, you want to store the character as well. So for that we need to use either cell or structure value, right? So if you wish to create the cell, so by using the opening curly bracket and closing curly bracket, we are able to define the cells, right? So we can define the cell like this. So here we have defined B 1, 2, 3, then C. So you can define the like your matrices. So by using the comma, you can separate the elements. So cell wise separation can be possible by the comma, right? And when you want to store the character value, you can use the single quotation. A similar way we can define the structure elements by using the struct keyword. So this struct keyword is very useful when we want to access the we have the large image database, and from a large image database you want to find out the name, height and width of your image, what is the name of your image, what is the path of your image. So at that time we are try to prefer to store this value into the struct element. So likewise it can be stored a is equal to 1 1. So this is the state structure. So you can see whenever we are trying to define the array, so at that time we are using the square matrix, square bracket. When we want to define the cell, so at that time we are using the opening braces and closing braces, right? So when we are trying to execute this command, so it will be store the value like this under the cell 1 1. You can see this is this one matrix under the cell 1 2. So this is the value under the cell 2 1, this one the value, likewise, right? Similar way we can try to store the element or the values under one row by using the structure value, right? So for example, if you want to store the patient information, so one patient number id, patient id, so under that patient id we will able to store the value of name, billing, test and so many things, right? So most of the case we want to work on the very large amount of data, right? And to store this data we require very large amount of memory space. So we want to minimize the memory space so that your execution speed will be very high. So for that we are trying to use the different data types. So in Matlab, these are the different data types as are available, like logical, character, numeric, cell, structure, Java classes, function handle. So under the numeric, it has been again categorized into the int8. int stands for integer value, and uint stands for unsigned integer value of 8 bit, 16 bit, 16 bit, 32 bit, and 64 bit, single, double, likewise, right? So these are the range values of the signed bit and unsigned bit values. Then we have the operators. So you can perform the operation, find out the relation between the your operands, right? So you can find out the relation by using symbols. This one is less than equal to, greater than equal to, and these are the function equivalent. So if you don't want to use this symbol, you can use this function instead of this, right? So we have the logical operators like and, or, not, and these are the list of the operators. Then arithmetic operators, equal to, greater than, less than, equal to, likewise. So these are the arithmetic operators. Sorry, okay. So this one is the logical operator and this one is the arithmetic operator. So you can perform the addition, multiplication, division, subtraction, likewise on your matrix. So with the plus operation, with the operators, there are certain functions which are available, so we can bypass the operator also, right? So if you want to perform the addition operation, you can use the plus. So if you don't want to use this operator, you can just use the sum function. So by using sum function, you can able to make the addition of the all the elements of your array. Likewise, you can perform the operation. So for example, we have defined the one array A and another array B, right? So we have the A and B, and you can perform the operation on these two arrays. So we can perform the addition by using the plus operator, A plus B. We can perform the subtraction, A minus B. We can make the multiplication or product, A into B, that is star. So we can perform the transpose matrix by using the single quotation. So likewise, arithmetic operation we can perform by using various type of operators. So we can perform the matrix multiplication element wise also. Division, power, these are the perform operation can be performed by element wise, even though matrix wise also. Sometimes you need to control the execution of your program with the help of the certain condition. So at that time we can use these different type of flow control statements. So there are 8 different type of flow control statements. So for example, if you want to check the condition, on this condition, if that condition is satisfied, then and then some particular code will be executed. So at the time we are using the if condition. If is less than 3. So if this condition is satisfied, this code will be executed. Sometimes it may happen that we have the n number of list of the conditions, and on the basis of that condition we need to check it. So we can go for the switch case or we can go for the else if ladder, right? Sometimes it may happen that you want to execute the particular code up to the certain times. So you can use either for loop or the while loop. So the syntax of this for loop, while loop like this: for I is equal to 1 to 100 from Matlab commands. So for example, here so we want to display the hello up to 10 times. So we can use I is equal to 1 to 10, right? Then display hello. Value of I, and this is the end of your function. Sorry, this is not executed properly. So we can use the editor also for writing this command. So just use the edit and we can write here So this is, so first you need to store this value. You can give the name. By default extension will be mat. So we can say the demo.yum. Okay, and this is the green signal, green arrow. So you can just press the F5 button or just click on the green arrow. So the execution will be start. So now you can see 10 times this for loop has been executed and it will be printed 10 times hello, right? So likewise for loop you can use the while loop also. In while it will be, first you need to check the condition. If I is less than or equal to, we can say 10. So we need to define the value of I is equal to 1, right? And here we can see end and make the display is, you can say in single quotation, I mean while loop. We can execute this. We can say I mean while loop. So it has been gone to the infinite loop. I is less than or equal to 10. So we haven't implemented the value of I, so it is always the true one. That's why. And so we need to make the terminate. Okay. So we need to specify the stopping condition also while using the while block statement. So these are the examples of the condition, if else condition. So if logical condition is true, then certain commands will be executed. If this condition is not true, then it will check the another condition and certain commands will be executed. If anybody condition has not satisfied, it at last it will be executed the else statement and this command will be executed, right? So these are the syntax and examples. We don't want to waste so many times. We are already running out of the time. So we can perform the operation on string also. So you can store the value of string into the single quotation into your variable and you can perform the operations. So if you want to match the string, so there are so many different type of different functions are available, right? You can separate the string by using semicolon also, row separation. So here you can see we have defined one variable str and under str we have just written the value hi there, right? And another variable str1 we have written everyone exclamatory mark, right? So here how many rows? One row and 9 vectors, 9 values are there, right? Similar way we can concatenate this string by using like this operation, right? Then it is the collection of the 2 rows and 19 matrices like this. Then we can compare the two strings by using the string compare. We can compare the particular character by using string n compare. If you want to find out the particular string from your the collection of strings, you can use the find str. Sometimes it may be happen that your number has been written into the string under the single quotation. So whatever the contents has been stored by using single quotation, it will be considered as a string. But you want to convert that number into the numerical format. So at that time you can use the num2 string. And sometimes you want to convert number into the string. So num to string or string to num. So vice versa conversion will be happen. So these are the elementary math functions you can perform by using this function: absolute, sine, cos, cosine, acos, exponent, log, log10, save, floor, round, GCD, LCM, square root, real, imaginary, right? You can find out the mean, max, mean, median, mode, standard deviation, variance, covariance, like this. Then this is the basic of the graphics fundamental. So plot, title, X label, grid label, legend, holds, axis. These are the things which will be covered by using the basic plotting. Even though you can edit the properties of your plots, you can display the plot in to the different surfaces. So if you use this plot function, under this plot function, there are so many different type of arguments you can pass. Like x1, y1, these are the coordinate values. So we want to plot on your figure, and these are the properties. So C stands for color, S stands for the line, and M is the marker. Okay, x2, y2, likewise, and up to the so on, right? So we have defined, we have just created one variable x, y, and we have plotted the value. We have calculated the value of cos of x value. It will be stored into the z, and it is we are trying to plot it by using plot function x, y, and xz. So line width will be 2. The title of the this figure will be the sample plot. The x label will be x value, y label will be y value, and legend will be y data and z data. And we have just on the grids, right? So the output of this code will be like this, right? So it will be printed like this. Then you can display the multiple plots by using the figure window. Under the one figure, you can able to display the figures. So by using subplots, so row, column, and index value. By using subplots, we can display the different type of plots under the one row, under the one figure. Then figure is the very interesting thing. So by using the figure, if we have opened the n number of figures, so you want to uh, close the particular figure, so you can use the close command by using the figure number. So close command, or you can just use the close all. So it will close all the figures which are open on your desktop. Then surface plot, we can uh, display the surface by using mesh grid function. So these are the different type of 3D surface plotting by using counter waterfall like this. Okay, so we can handle these graphics by using different type of objects like root, figure, axis, image, line, patch, rectangle, surface, text, light, and so many things are there. Okay, so just I will click on fast. Okay, so you can see this figure. These are the UI menu, right? These are UI menu controls objects. This is the subject surface object, and this is line object, text object, this is the figure object, and UI control objects. So you can specify the UI control with the help of your commands. So you can open the UI, you can set the value by using the utility function like GCF, GCA, GCU, right? So GCF is the current figure handle, GCA is the current axis handle, and GCU is the current object handle. So we can handle it when we have developed the application with the help of graphical user interface GUI, right? So at that time we need to always handle these objects. So we can set the properties of these handles by using by set property, right? Even though if you want to find out what are the properties are there, so you can use the get function, and you can pass the object value, and you can get or set the values of your properties of your graphical user interface, right? So this is the graphical user interface of the axis checkbox. So these are the buttons. We can try to define the buttons value, and according to this button operation, this axis will be display the contents according to the values changes, right? So this is the glimpses of the guide editor. So this is the one GUI, blank GUI. So these are the certain buttons. So when we are clicking the push button, the certain things will be happen. So we need to write the backend coding for this one. Right? So these are the editors, text box, text value we can enter. These are the check boxes. You can use radio boxes. This is the access. This is the list box, and these are the property inspectors. Right? So we don't have the too much time because we are running out of time. So I will just try to cover the so many things in fast way. So for example, if you want to read the image, so we can process the image data by using the IMRead function. So you know that image, if we are trying to read the color image is consist of three channels: red, green, and blue channels. So each plane has its own property, right? So RGB color we can use. So I will just directly show you the demonstration instead of the slides. Use clear all VLC. So we want to read the image. We can use I is equal to amread is the function. Amread. So you can specify the image. So please tell me the who is your famous actor or actress. Please tell me
So
the any name.
we
Any
can
name.
take Amitabh Bachchan.
Okay, okay, we can take the Amitabh Bachchan. Amitabh Bachchan. Okay, so this image. This image we want to use. So we are trying to save this image. Uh, Desktop. I will write the name Amitabh. Okay. So this image has stored into the my desktop, but I am using the online current version. So I need to upload this image to this current working directory, right? Okay. What is the option? Okay. So here there is the option browse folder. Yesterday I have uploaded my own image here. This one. I will try to upload the one. It is not finding the where I am trying to upload it. Upload option is not finding. Okay, so I will just yesterday I have just uploaded my image.
Okay,
So I will just show you my image first.
no problem, sir.
Meanwhile, we will see the where is the option. So this is my image. JPG. Okay, so you can see the matrix. So this is the contents has been read by using amblet function, and you can see whose. Okay, so the matrix name is I, and the size of this matrix is like this, and this number of bytes has been stored, and the class is UNIT, right? So if you want to show this image, you can use I'm show I. Right? And so this image has been displayed here. So you can perform the various operation. For example, if you want to find out the mean, so you can say mean of I. So it will be stored the mean. If you wish to convert the image into the RGB to gray, so we can say RGB to gray. So semicolon indicate that we don't want to show these elements value, right? So by using that semicolon, we can terminate the display of the contents of your image. So we can say I'm show gray. So you can see the difference. This is a grayscale image, and you can check the size of this grayscale image. Right. So how many row? 531 row and 413 columns. Right. You can perform the various operation on this image. So you can say mean. So mean has been calculated. Then you can calculate the mode also. Yum yum. Mode. The mean mode. You can calculate the variance also. Variance. Uh, VAR. Variance VM connector. I think I haven't used this function till now. Okay, I think VAR on me. Right. So these are the variance value. This is variance value, right? Mean, mode, variance, standard deviation. You can use STD to calculate the standard deviation. You can calculate the covariance, variance, transpose matrix. So many things you can perform. Okay. So likewise, different type of operation you can perform on images. I hope we are running too much time, so we will stop here. If you have any question, you can ask me.
Uh, yes, sir. We are having a question by Mr. Sagar Chaturvedi, who is a PhD scholar at NFSU. He's saying, I wanted to ask if you have come across MATLAB toolboxes named as EEG Lab or ERP Lab, primers or signal processing toolbox, and he is needing your guidance in regarding this.
Uh, if you want to take the help of the MATLAB, so you just go to the help. There is a plus icon, right? So under this plus icon, you can see the list of the toolboxes are there. And I think what was the tool name? EEG, right? You just search it here, EEG. I think this is the electroencephalogram is there, right? So these are the EEG signal analysis toolbox is there. You can use this one, no problem. So I think one of me and my colleague has developed the application on EEG signal based application. So you can take the help of me also, no problem.
Yes, and Sarah, thank you so much for your valuable time. I would like, let me ask everyone if there is any question, you may please ask to sir. The stage is open for everyone. And if not, then we can proceed.
So you can see here under the MATLAB, I will share the screen once again.
Mm-hmm.
If you just click on the help button, is it visible? Screen is visible.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, so you can see here there are so many different type of categories are there. So you can select the appropriate category uh, and you can find out the helps. For example, using MATLAB, you want to surpass this one. Okay. For example, you want to find out the image processing toolbox. You can write image processing. So this is image processing toolbox. You can see under this toolbox there are so many different type of segments are there. For example, if you want to analyze the image, so you can use image analysis. If you want to process image, you can use image processing. If you want to use 3D image processing, you can use 3D image processing. Image registration, even though you can perform basic operation like you can make the image enhancement operation like blurring, deblurring, sharpening, edge detection, denoising. Likewise, you can perform the operation. So many different type of helps are available. Videos are also available. You can use videos. You can use the contents also. So it is self-explanatory. You just try to read it, try to understand it, and try to use the code. That's enough.
Okay. Mr. Sagar, I hope this will be helpful for you. Um, I would now like my colleague Ms. Kritika Sood to present propose the vote of thanks. Please, Kritika.
Thank you, Monica, for giving me the opportunity to deliver the word of thanks. I'd express my heartfelt gratitude on behalf of the whole multimedia department to Sir. Sir, thank you for taking your time out of the busy schedule that you must be having and imparting the students with such enriching knowledge with your very interesting webinar. I'd also take this opportunity to thank Dr. Subi Mathur, ma'am, the head of the multimedia department, who relentlessly works in finding such knowledgeable, enhancing opportunities for everybody here at NFSU. I'll take few more minutes to appreciate and acknowledge my dear friends and colleagues, Varnika Mehta, Ashna Bhatia, Akhilesh Kumar, for coordinating this event, making the webinar a successful event. I wish everybody a pleasant day and thank you so much.
Thank you, Kritika. And even I would like to
Thank you.
thank Dr. Suvi Mathur, who has permitted us to, organize this expert lecture by Mr. Very talented Dr. Siddhartha Bade. And thank you so much, sir, for taking out your time and helping out us and giving a very detailed and, brief things about Matlab, which we were not aware of. So thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank
And
you, Surbi ma'am and Varnika ma'am, for organizing a very good interaction with you.
yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for joining.